So let's dive right into this video. I will be explaining what the subconscious and the conscious minds are, what each is responsible for, the 90-10 rule, how they work together, and why it is so beneficial to understand how they work together to create lasting change within your life. So let's first start out with what each is. So the conscious mind is the part of your mind that hosts your intellect and your reasoning ability. With this part of your mind, you are able to analyze things. You are able to have awareness. So if I'm looking at my hand right now and I'm aware that I have a hand, I am very conscious that I have a hand, right? But while we're looking at our hand, we're not also remembering that we have a foot. So we're not being conscious that we have a foot, but because we have our awareness on our hand, we are conscious that we have a hand, okay? And our subconscious mind has much more responsibility than our conscious mind does. Our subconscious mind hosts our habits, our belief systems, our memories, our emotions, our tendencies, our behavior patterns, our thought patterns. That's a lot. And on top of that, it is also responsible for the maintenance of our proper bodily functions, like maintaining our heartbeat and maintaining a perfect body temperature. It's worth noting that our subconscious mind is influenceable via our environment, but more on that a little later. Our subconscious mind makes sense of things based upon what you already know, have been through, and have seen and experienced. But because you have a conscious mind that has reasoning ability and analytical skills and hosts your intellect, the conscious part of your mind has the ability to look at things in a new perspective. When we are doing something new that we have never done before, or are in a situation or experience that we have never been in before, we are definitely using our conscious mind. We are analyzing the situation, intellectualizing what's going on and how to approach it. But when we are doing something that we have done before, we are operating from the subconscious mind. And given that humans are habitual creatures and do the same things they've always done in the same ways they've always done them, often at the same times of the day that they have always done them, it would make sense then that we use more of our subconscious mind than we do our conscious mind, which leads into the 90-10 aspect. We are using our subconscious mind 90 to 95% of the time. We are only conscious about 5 to 10% of the time. Remember, your subconscious mind hosts your behavioral and thought patterns, it hosts your habits, your tendencies, and your memories and emotions. And how often of the day are you doing something that you've done before? How often of the day are you behaving in a way that you've behaved before, or having the same train of thought that you've had before, right? Most of our life, we are walking around being operated by the subconscious mind. So let's move on to how they work together. So, when you are doing something new, you have to be very conscious of what you are doing. Until you do that thing often enough, and you repeat the action or the skill enough times that it becomes habitual, that it becomes familiar, and then is stored within your subconscious mind. Think of driving or learning a sport or learning a new skill, like playing an instrument. When you are first starting out, you have to be very conscious of what you're doing, very alert of the situation at hand, but once you do it often enough, it's like you don't even have to think while you're doing it. You don't have to use your intellect and your reasoning ability anymore while doing that thing or performing that skill. This is how they work together. And this is good. Our brain has this ability to benefit us so that we don't have to relearn how to brush our teeth or tie our shoes or drive each and every time we do this. The thing is, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between good or bad. So bad habits and negative thought patterns can be just as easily stored as positive ones. And going back to what I had said earlier, how it's notable that the subconscious mind is influenced by your external environment. So what do I mean? Well, the people that you are around influence your behavior and your habits. The things you listen to on the news or the radio will influence your thought patterns and your behavioral patterns. And so your subconscious mind is very moldable. Okay, it is very influenced by your environment. So you need to start tending to your environment. If you want positive habits and thought patterns, you need to put positivity into your environment, your external environment, right? And you may not be consciously deciding to adopt the beliefs of the people around you, but you are consciously deciding to put yourself around those people. You are consciously deciding to put those things in your environment, and therefore they can mold your subconscious mind. And last but not least, why it is so beneficial to know how these two work together and to know the differences between them. It's easy to fix a car when you know how the car works. It's easy to play an instrument when you know how to read music or how to play that instrument. And it is easier to create change within your life when you know how these two parts of your mind work together. When you want to implement a new habit or thought, all you need to do is repeatedly expose yourself to it. Consciously decide over and over to put yourself in that situation or obtain that information, right? Or to carry out those actions. Repetitive action, conscious repetitive action, will lead to that thought or habit being stored within your subconscious mind. So that covers how to create new habit or thought form. But when it comes to altering one that you already have, perhaps you have a habit of procrastination, or you have a habit of having the thought pattern of pessimism rather than optimism. It's a little different because you already have that habit and thought pattern or behavior or belief, whatever, stored. Okay, so it's not something new you're trying to put in, it is something that's already in that you are trying to change, alter, or delete. So that's where reprogramming comes into play. So when you are adopting a new habit or thought that you don't have yet, that is programming your mind, right? But when you are reprogramming, you are adjusting something that's already in there. And the same rules apply, that same aspect of you consciously decide to do X, Y, and Z so many times that it becomes second nature and gets stored in your subconscious, that still applies. So if you have a habit of pessimism, when you consciously decide to think and be optimistic, it starts to have an effect on your old pattern. You will eventually outweigh the old with the new. It's not going to be easy at first, because when you have a part of your mind that dominates you, 90% of your life is run via your subconscious mind. So what you have within your subconscious mind is very important. And so when you have something in the 90% and you're trying to change it with only the 10%, it's not going to just automatically be changed. You have to have that formula of time plus repetition equals result, right? You have to repeat that desired habit or thought enough times that it outweighs the old. But there are ways in order to speed up this reprogramming, and I have made a video about that, and I'll go ahead and link to it and put it down in the description of this video. So if you want to learn how to more quickly reprogram what you already have within your subconscious mind, please check out that video. It'll be very valuable to you. And so now you know your conscious mind is where your intellect and reasoning ability lie, and your subconscious mind is where your habits, emotions, belief systems, memories, so much tendencies, etc. So many things are stored within your subconscious mind. And you will also now know that your subconscious mind is responsible for the 90%, whereas your conscious mind is responsible for the 10%. And so it is very beneficial to tend to what is in the 90% so that you have a very positive and optimistic life. And now you also know how influenceable your subconscious mind is. And so you'll begin to tend to what you consciously put yourself in or allow yourself to be exposed to. Thank you so much for watching. I am so eternally grateful for you. Let me know what you've gotten from this video down in the comments below. I would love to hear your takeaways. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Much love.